Well, I've carried a Glock for over a decade, some sort of Glock. Why am I changing to a Smith & Wesson M&P? Let's talk about it. Hey, concealed carriers, welcome back to the concealedcarry.com YouTube channel. I am Tyler Tharp, owner of Synergy Training Group, and today we're going to talk about why am I switching to an M&P after carrying something I know very intimately for over 10 years, that is a Glock. Let's take a quick trip back in time to 2000 and let's say 13. It was 2013. I was managing the gun counter of a local gun store. It was like a sports and gun store, so it wasn't just guns. It had like football and all that other sports ball stuff on the other side. And I got a chance to put my hands on a bunch of different things. And I had already been shooting a Glock for a while. And I was finally starting to get into carrying a gun on me at all times. The only thing I'd ever owned a Glock was the Glock 34 Gen 4, one of the original ones for shooting USPSA, Steel Challenge, and whatnot. And that's just not exactly, I still have the exact one. That's a whole lot of gun to try to stick in my pants, and I just didn't want to do that. So I was playing around with different guns, and believe it or not, I settled on a Glock 26, which is the super baby one. Holds like 10 rounds, and it's small. They call them the baby Glocks. They're still pretty thick. And I was young, and I didn't know any better. I had the little clip draw, which was a clip that attaches to the back plate, and you just clip it into your pants. There's no way of covering the trigger guard or anything, and that's how I carried a loaded one-in-the-chamber Glock. Thank goodness nothing bad ever happened, but man, was that irresponsible. I've since learned a lot, obviously, and I've went through a couple different Glocks that I've carried. 19s, almost always some sort of 19 with like different slides and optics and sights and triggers and this and holsters and whatnot. And when the Glock 43 came out, I carried it for a while. And then the Glock 43X and 48 came out with the original with the silver slide. And I was like, ooh, bingo, I like that a lot better. It gives me a little bit more grip, still slimmer than the 19. And that's what I've carried ever since that existed. This is still the original Glock 48 that had the silver slide on it. I've just had it cut and coated. So this thing dates back to when they very first came out. And I've put shield mags in them. I have them over there, which hold 15. So 15 rounds in a Glock that is essentially the same height and length as a Glock 19. Well, minus that thing. That is a production thing. I don't know if it's out yet, but it's thinner. And I was like, man, that's the trick. That's what I want. So that's what I carried for a long time, until recently, when I finally made the decision to start transitioning over to an M&P. Why am I doing that? That's a great question. Well, let's backtrack a couple years. I moved away from Glocking competition to a Shadow 2, CZ Shadow 2, and I was able to start getting some of my support hand, this part of my palm, behind the gun just a little bit, behind the grip, and was getting some traction to push forward, and I really like that a lot. Then I went to a Beretta 92 Landing Tactical, almost the same deal, and then I have a it's in a box in there. It's a Canic Rival S, and same thing. The grip shape allows that support hand to get a little bit more behind the gun instead on a Glock, where because of the shape of it, you can't get any of your support hand behind the gun. You're really just getting all of your strong hand behind the gun, and then the left hand is just kind of encompassing left and right. And while this is totally fine, like this has worked for me for a long time, I just found myself really enjoying being able to put my hand behind the grip some. So I started shooting them side by side and seeing what gave me the results that I really wanted. A more repeatable and predictable return to zero. Building a grip right off the bat. How am I feeling the pressures and things? And yeah, I made the decision that I want a carry gun that allows me to do that same exact thing. So Enter the M&P. But why the M&P with all the other options out there? Everybody's like, man, you should get a PDP, or you should get a CZP P10C, or what have you. Well, there's a couple reasons why I really like the M&P. One, there is a fair amount of aftermarket support. I can get quality holsters. KSG Armory is making Lexingtons for them, no problem. My wife has a Shield Plus, so it's cool to have sort of the same family. Magazines are relatively easy to find and affordable. They have optics ready versions. I mean, who doesn't it these days, really? But no extended beaver tail. I don't like beaver tails on striker guns. The only gun that I do like beaver tails on are 1911s and 2011s. Comes with a well, I broke that one yesterday, but it comes with a active safety. By design, they're meant to be carried cocked and locked. But striker fired guns, I really enjoy, especially carrying appendix. I really enjoy no beaver tail, so there's nothing extra poking me. If you remember correctly, the Gen 1 M&Ps have those. So I was like, well, the Gen 2s really do check all the boxes. The different back straps being the best box it checks for me, in that you can get them wider instead of just longer. On the Glocks and some other guns, when you change the back strap, it just adds length of pull. It doesn't actually add grip girth or thickness, which is what I wanted, to be able to get some of that support hand behind the gun, get some traction right in this area. Small nuance that I never thought I would appreciate until about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now. And I appreciate it so much that it motivated me to completely ditch a Glock for concealed carry. Now, am I saying you should go ditch your Glock in favor of something like this for your concealed carry? No. Glock has served me for a very long time. However, if you decide that you want to go test these things, I would find a gun like this, a pistol like the M&P, the PDP, the VP9 has the interchangeable side panels as well. So put all those in a line and do like a build drill or something and see how the gun is tracking, how that return to zero is, and see if you can get that pressure behind the gun right there-ish with your support hand, like I'm saying, and see if you like that. It may not give you any difference at all. It really may not, but there's only one way to know, and that's for you to go try it. So, yeah, in a nutshell, I wanted a different grip. Not because of the angle. I didn't mention that. Glocks have that steep angle that some people just do not like. It's never bothered me. So I didn't change the angle just because I can change the girth and get my support hand behind it. Also, one last thing to note, Apex triggers and M&Ps are amazing. If you are of the train of thought, you cannot alter the trigger or anything like that in your carry gun for litigation reasons, no worries. The newest version of the 2.0s have fantastic triggers. Again, they're optics ready. There are some great plate designs out there that keep the gas from the chamber indicator hole there from getting on the face of your optic. You got good iron sight options, and you even have an active safety option if you need that as well. So, if you've ever thought about an M&P, here's my reasons for carrying one. I hope this helps. And until next time, y'all, keep training.